In this video, I'm going to explain you how to do root cause analysis with the Lightstep Explorer. Here, you can see my Explorer screen that I reach by clicking on this icon here, which is the Explorer icon. Please note that Explorer is limited to the last 1 hour transactions or traces that are collected by Lightstep, meaning that it is there for hot root cause analysis when you know that you've got a problem that is less than 1 hour ago. If you want to do cold root cause analysis, you will better use either the notebooks or the dashboard. But let's go back to my Explorer. As I don't need to speak about performance here, I won't display the latency histogram, neither the correlation for the moment. I want to focus on my issue. Somebody told me that my web application is not working very well because customers encounter errors, bugs, when they see some page. So what I will focus on here is I will use the query builder in order to filter for all the web application and only on errors. For this, I will use the attribute error with value equal true. Please ensure that the value of your attribute is correctly selected by ensuring that you've got the circle, the gray circle around it. If it is not the case, it will not be taken into account. For sure, you can use any other attributes or filtering in your search. But for the moment, I will focus on that. So my first thing, I want to narrow the problem, meaning I want to understand better what is happening for my web customers and for what problem did they get. For this, I will try to group by my operation all the traces that I'm capturing. Like this, I will understand if there is one operation that is generating more problems than the other one. And here, for example, I can see that there is one operation, the get store, that is generating 50% of my error, 53% are getting by the get store data, but with 2000 spans, that's probably the biggest. I will focus only on traces, and yes, that confirms that that's the get store operation that is generating the most issues. So what I can do now is I can click here to go directly to the trace with this get store operation, or I can also add it in my filtering here. So if I focus only on get store and I redo my query, I go back without the group by operation because I have only one. Now what I can do, I narrow my problem to only a single operation. I can try to understand better the root cause of the problem. What are the common root cause of issues? It is a new version, it is a specific environment, or it could be a specific business use case. So here, for example, I will begin by filtering by service.version, just to understand if there is a version that is generating more issues than the other one. And here, clearly, that's not the case. We've got several versions that have the same issues. So I will try now to filter maybe by host, if there is any host, run info.host. And here I can see also that the error is quite the same among all my hosts, meaning that it's not linked to a specific host. If I want, I can use any attribute that is in my platform. You know that the infinite cardinality of Lightstep, you can use as many attributes, as many values as you want. For example, I can use a business attributes like the customer here. And I can see also that the error is spread among all my customers, so it's definitely not linked to a customer. Meaning that my problem may be difficult to link to a specific version, customer, or environment. I should look directly into the trace or in the service diagram to understand what is happening. In the service diagram, I can see that I've got errors on my web front end, but also errors on my store server. So probably, and I've got half of my errors that are coming from my store server because on my web front end, I have 1,300 errors, and here I have 655, meaning that probably half of my errors are coming from my store servers and half are coming from another source. I will open the trace in order to better understand what is happening. I can see the complete trace. I can see that my web is in error with this payload. The developers, they forgot to put a log here for the error message. Too bad, that's a good practice. You should really encourage them to put the error message here in the logs, and I can see that I've got errors also here, and here I've got an error message. Too many requests for this store ID on my get store data store server. So that probably at least half of my problem are coming from this too many store ID. For sure, I will open other traces in order to better understand if it is the same issue everywhere, but I've got already a good information on the probable root cause, too many store ID again, on the root cause of my problem, and I've got here the payloads that I can reuse in order to reproduce it on my other environment. So now that I've identified this, I can either share the URL for this trace to explain the problem to my developers. I can also use a workflow link, maybe if I've defined some, to go directly to the code with a GitHub search, or to directly email the web owner of the problem. Or I can also create a notebook that I will share with my developer with this query. So if I create a notebook here, it will put this query, this particular time, and I can zoom on the traces in this notebook. Don't forget also that you can use the correlation in order to match any common attributes or values between your traces in errors or your traces generating latency. Sometimes it is useful in order to better understand what is happening, or more quickly understand what is happening in all your traces. That's all for this specific root cause analysis use case. Thank you for your attention, and don't hesitate to look at other videos regarding other use cases and features of Lightstep.